So are we live now, Stefan?
We are live. There are dozens of people watching.
Great. Oh, great. Hi, everybody.
Great. Oh, yeah. Okay, we have a very U.S. crowd today. Very fun. Okay, let us get started. Welcome, everyone. Day 2 SOSV Climate Tech Summit breakout sessions. I'm excited to have, as we've been trying to find who are the best people providing resources within climate, we thought for this year, it's very important to have people like who are doing the on-the-ground regional types of work. You know, I'm sure maybe a bunch of you saw our Global South panel. We also had Matias, who's doing great work in Buenos Aires and Mexico City. Additionally, a place that I am quite fond of as a very, very obnoxious Manhattanite, born and raised, is New York. And it's, you know, I have my love affair. I think it's the greatest place in the world, but I'll only say negative things about it. But no one else can say negative things about it. That's just something we do. But there's a great funding source, resource center, great folks that are working with the Empire State Development to invest in some incredible companies. And that would be New York Ventures. And so with that, I would like to introduce the managing director, Jennifer Teagan. So Jennifer, the stage is yours. I will hop off, but I'll be here in case anything goes wrong. Everyone here, you should know, chat is for all the information, fun stuff, and Jennifer will share how to get in touch there. Q&A is for the questions. Upvote the ones you like, so it's easier for Jennifer to find the good questions. Great. All right, Jennifer, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Stefan. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity and the interest in learning more about the resources that New York State offers to entrepreneurs, and particularly in climate tech entrepreneurs, because that is an important area of focus for the state and continuing to develop innovation and technology for New York State. My name is Jennifer Teagan, so I'm the Managing Director of New York Ventures. I'm also joined by a colleague I know she's online, by a colleague, Audrey Chisholm, who's online. I think the information said Sylvia would be here, but I stepped in last minute. I was available and she was off doing another program today. So thanks for letting me sub in at the last minute. My background is the better part of 20 years in ventures. In the last three and a half years, building out the program at New York State. When I started, we had 1 program for investing in startups. Now we have 4, and excited to tell you all about them. And please do ask lots of questions. I'm really happy to help you to understand our programs better so that you can access them if they're appropriate for you or as an entrepreneur or even fund managers. We have programs for fund managers as well. And let me just make sure I can advance my slide. There we go. All right, so New York Ventures, we support and invest in diverse entrepreneurs and their high growth companies across the state. So our we're really looking to fill in gaps in access to capital broadly, and we define gaps based on where the business is located, because outside of New York City and Manhattan, it's a little harder to find funding and resources than it is if you're in New York City. Also by the background of the founder. So diverse founders are important to us across New York State because we are a very diverse state in population. We want to make sure that people get good access to capital. And then also for particular industry sectors that we find to be strategically important for the state, or also are those sectors that may need a little de-risking before or alongside other private sector investors who are willing to come in early on some hard tech investments. And that's, and by the way, those are just guardrails. You don't have to be all of those things in order to apply for our programs. It's just to give you a sense of some of the ways that we look to support and fill in the gaps again, where we think the private sector may not be addressing all the needs of all entrepreneurs in the state as well. So the programs that we offer, we have 2 investment programs that are direct funds, and meaning that we invest directly in the startups. And the first one is a newer program. It's our pre-seed and seed fund, and I'll get into the details of that in just a moment. We also have a larger fund called our Innovation Venture Capital Fund that invests in companies that are seed stage up to Series B. We also offer two newer programs again this year, or were new to us this year, to invest in emerging fund managers as well as accelerator partners, trying again to diversify and broaden the innovation ecosystem and the partners that are available to help support startups who are wanting to grow and expand in New York State. And yes, this program is for startups in New York State. You have to be either headquartered here, have the majority of your assets or the majority of your employees here in order to access our programs. And if you're an international startup, that means having at least your US headquarter here, as well as one C-suite employee in New York State. Thank you for the question. So on the pre-seed and seed fund, this is a new program to us. We launched it in January of this year. We've already made 17 investments out of that program, although we've had over more than 500 applicants for it to date. So it's been a busy time for our team and our programs, but super excited to offer this to New York State companies. The investment size that we make through the pre-seed fund is $50,000 to $250,000. It has to be matched 1-to-1. So we can match up to $250,000 if you have raised $250,000. It's an application-based program. So you just submit your information online, and I'll give you the website. Actually, if Audrey is online and you wanted to pop into the chat, or I can do it later too, but pop into the chat the web link for the application for that program. That would be amazing. And it does, oh, thanks, Audrey, great. And then it does require that you have matching private sector investment from experienced investors. So it can be an angel group that's made an investment in you, can be a pre-seed or a seed stage fund. Generally, we're looking for somebody who's also aligned with venture capital investing, who has already made an investment in you. So we understand that they've done some diligence and have a good understanding of what it means to grow a venture-backed startup. The total fund size for that program is $30 million, and I mentioned 17 companies to date. The focus areas for us for this program, although they're fairly broad: advanced manufacturing, agricultural systems, clean energy, and climate tech, which is hopefully why most of you are here. We also have some financial and consumer tech, healthcare, life sciences, SaaS, data, AI, social impact technology. So again, really looking for things also are willing to invest in things where we feel like it's a great benefit to the public sector, given that we come from the public sector ourselves, working for the state of New York. And again, New York State geographies and diverse teams is also great for this program. The eligibility criteria: you need to be a C Corp headquartered in New York State, and you have to stay there for at least a year. In order to qualify, you have to have raised less than $2 million in dilutive funding before the current round that you're now raising for and will be applying for. This is a really important nuance of this program. This program was because we received funding from the federal government through a program called the State Small Business Credit Initiative. And so this is one of their stipulations. We don't love it, but we have to follow it. But in order for us to, so if you come to us and say, I raised $50,000 6 months ago, unfortunately, we can't match that $50,000. We can still look at you and see if there's a way for us to help you, but we would need a newer $50,000 in order to match. So our requirement is that we have to be able to match any money that you've raised that we're going to be matching. We have to do it within 90 days, which means that you need to apply within about the first 30 days of receiving that funding. So we have time to process your application and to review it internally and then get you the funds, get you the matching funds. We do work with safe notes, convertible notes, priced rounds. All those things are accepted. There is the web link. And again, it's not a guarantee. I know it's a state-based program. It's not a guarantee that we'll make an investment. It is still a venture-backed program, an equity program. We're looking for things that we believe will be venture-backable. This is the current portfolio. I think at least one of these companies, Watts, is in the clean energy, climate related space, trying to help businesses to achieve waste reduction. And then you can see some of the others in there as well. Uncaged is also, it's a biomaterials company with making sustainable leather out of plant collagen. So we do have a couple in the climate tech space, just to give you an example of some of the things that we've looked at. For our larger program fund, I'll just cover this quickly. This is our seed to Series B. We can invest check sizes of $250,000 up to $3 million. It's usually about up to $1 million for seed, up to $2 million for A, and up to $3 million for a B. Although we only match 1/3, whereas the seed fund was a 1-to-1 match. This is a 2-to-1 match. That total fund size is $135 million, and it's actually reviewed with us by an external advisory board. The key sectors for this program are advanced manufacturing, agricultural technology and systems, clean energy and climate again, computing and AI, healthcare, life sciences, and social impact tech. And again, the diverse teams in New York State geographies goes across all of our programs. Let's see. Oh, and how to apply is actually you reach out, and I'll show a slide of our team, and I'll drop email for our team into the chat so that people understand how to apply. Let me get to some of the questions here. This is for the New York State Innovation Venture Capital Fund portfolio. In the center of that slide are some of the climate tech companies that we've already invested in. Probably our most recent one was C16 Biosciences, which is making a palm oil replacement initially for cosmetics, but hopefully also for food systems. This is our team, a team of 10 people, and the direct fund team are the ones for the larger fund program are in blue. Have their names in blue. And then our pre-seed and seed fund director is Josh Nelson. And this is the way you contact us. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my slides, I think, if I can. Actually, I'll leave that up for a minute since it has the QR code and the website. And now I'm going to just switch over so I can answer some of the questions here. Was hoping to read that New York State has a climate tech funding program. Stephen, I guess we don't currently have one that's we try to keep our programs a little bit more flexible, but we invest a lot, like probably 25% of what we've invested to date out of our Innovation Venture Capital Fund, our larger fund, has been in climate tech. So although it's not called a climate tech fund explicitly, because we do invest in other things, it still is very much open and interested in climate tech investments, although certainly appreciate why. We did have at New York State an accelerator fund in competition that was climate tech focused, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out how to revitalize that program. Again, I know that was one that provided a lot of benefits to really early stage companies in my region, actually, where I live, which is in Ithaca. Are there any requirements on the company post-investing? Yeah, we do a survey every year. Fundamentally, as an economic development agency, we across the board try to do things that create great jobs for New Yorkers. I think my job is to create great jobs for New Yorkers, not only today, but really for the future of New Yorkers. or for the future of New York. So one of the important things that we report on and collect every year is just the number of jobs that have been created, as well as the amount of funding that has been raised by the companies over time once after we've made our investment. So it's fairly straightforward stuff in that regard. I don't think it's onerous. And then otherwise, we do still want to be kept keep close to the investment, make sure it's doing well, make sure we can help you. And if there's ways that we can help you, that we can, the closer we are in terms of just understanding how the business is doing, then we can certainly be helpful there. Great. I'm going to hop over to the Q&A just for a second to see what questions are here. Oh, thank you for the question on the New York State Innovation Fund. It is the same criteria of being based in New York State, but if it's an investment of more than $250,000, you have to agree to reside in New York State, or the company needs to be in New York State for 3 years minimum. But if it's less than $250,000, it's a 1-year minimum that you have to remain in New York State. The slides are not available or downloadable on the website, but most of the information is on there for each of our programs. So that our legal team doesn't like us to put slides out for various reasons. They think it's better for people to use the website for the most current and up-to-date information that we have. And there are email inboxes for each program, and those are monitored and responded to. So if ever you think there's a question that you don't see answered on the website, please do use those email addresses and send one in so that we can get back to you. So Michael asked, is waste management and climate tech, fintech your verticals? I think I shared a few minutes ago what some of our verticals were, so I'm not entirely sure. On the larger fund program, our verticals are in these green bars up. I don't know if you can see me moving my cursor, but where it says healthcare, life sciences, clean energy, climate, those are the verticals that we typically invest in. On the pre-seed fund, we do also include a few other verticals such as consumer technology and financial technology, particularly when there's good overlap with social impact and public interest in those. S-corps are not eligible. We find that given it's a high volume program, working with more unusual structures or more non-standard structures become very expensive for us, for our legal team, and more challenging. And our goal is to be able to deploy funds to as many great startups as we can. And so, I know we get the question about LLCs as well. And I have to tell you that we've only ever invested in 1 or 2 LLCs, and they always cost us a ton of legal time and money. And so we're trying to be as efficient with our resources as possible so we can make more investments on behalf of the state. Does the IP stay with the company? No, yeah, we work like a normal investor. We don't have any claims to your IP for any reason. So we do ask that you share information about the status of the business and the highlights and things that are going well or not going well, so we can be helpful. But yeah, we don't have any special requirements other than what a typical investor does, again, other than wanting to know how many employees you have, which a typical venture investor doesn't always ask you about. And our funded startups supported by the Climate Tech Growth Platform. Steve, I might need to be, I have to claim that I'm not sure what that is. So I'd be happy to connect afterwards to find out what specifically that is that you're asking. I'm going to chat my name or my email address in the chat for people. Happy to. I'm seeing if there are any other questions. I see lots of people saying hello in the chat. Yeah, happy to answer any other questions that people might have.
There's more questions in the Q&A that have just dropped in. Thank you for everyone's questions. I know a few of those dropped into the chat at first, but it looks like in Q&A, Samantha's just asked.
Okay, great. Are investment terms the same as the most recent round, or are they separately negotiated? It's a great question, Samantha. No, we are required to invest on the same terms as other investors in the round. So we're not, other than the requirement to stay in New York State. And we do have, because we are a public-facing entity, we do have some additional language that we have to put it, make you aware of around public disclosure law. Otherwise, there's nothing different about our how we invest and what we require. We will invest on the same terms as safe. We need to, for the federal program, actually, we have to, like, if we give you $50,000 in the pre-seed fund, it has to exactly match the money that we're matching. As far as the $50,000 that we are matching, the terms are exactly the same. What resources are available in regions outside of New York City? Yeah, actually, on this slide that is up right now, more than half of these companies are outside of New York City. So certainly always, I live outside of New York City. And as much as I love the city, I'm there a lot. My heart is definitely upstate New York. And so really excited to always meet new companies that are outside of New York City and support them as well. So none of the programs that I mentioned are exclusive to New York City companies, although we definitely spread the love all across the entire state, and happy to look at a company no matter where it's located. Right. Really appreciate all the interest and the questions today, and would love to see some additional applications for some of the programs.
Yeah, well, that leads me to my next question, which was going to be call to action. And if you're able, I just got pinged for, maybe go back to your slide with your email address and website. Oh, you're on Heidi's on your team. I totally forgot about that.
Oh, do you know Heidi? Great.
Yeah, I'm part of like the VC platform Click, and met Heidi there. So I always try to make sure they're invited to all of our events.
Awesome.
Great. I can write this in the chat. Or if you're able, I think I can do that. New York Ventures pre-seed at esd.newyork.gov. Fantastic. And then where does this QR code bring you?
To the website.
Fantastic. So everyone go to the website. Fantastic.
I also put my own email address in the chat too. So
amazing. And who should reach out to you? Who are your favorite people to connect with?
Founders and funders. So anybody who feels like they meet the criteria. I will say, if you're a pre-seed company, the one thing I cannot meet, we have to have you apply in order for it to be fair and equitable. I can't meet and learn about your company in advance of you applying for that program itself. And so if you're applying for the pre-seed fund, go ahead onto that website and apply for that program, and then we'll reach back out to you once we've got the application and we start reviewing it, somebody from the team will actually reach back out. But for the larger fund programs or the emerging manager program, really happy to connect directly and answer questions. And if I can't make time, then I've got a team of 10 and I will happily connect you with one of them as well.
But you do have like a very stellar team, I have to say. And so was the condition, just so I'm clear, you, after receiving funding or at some point, there has to be 1 year of being in New York, or is that condition of you having been in New York for 1 year?
You have to stay in the state for 1 year after you've received our funding.
Okay, which leads to, so if there's people here from other regions, areas outside of the greatest state, obviously.
And then why wouldn't you want to be in New York, right?
I should, God, we have a lot of West Coast people at the company, so I should.
All right, West Coast is nice too.
they have the weather and the nice people, that's fine. So I don't know, what would you say then for folks in climate, pre-seed, seed climate founders who are like, oh, okay, this seems like a great opportunity. Why would I go to New York?
Why? Other than that, it's the greatest state. But no, I mean, we have very aggressive climate goals and in New York State, and I think there's a lot of energy around climate tech companies. And we'd be happy to have you come and check that out here for sure.
I will say Climate Week was, I can't think of a better like tech week that I've been to. It's like, I don't know, South by Southwest and then New York Climate Week somehow, which is incredible.
Although if it could not be the same week as the United Nations General Assembly, that would free up hotel rooms a little, right?
It needs to not be at the same time because Ubers are so expensive. But whatever, we're talking climate here, so everyone has to bike. That's fine. Well, great, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining.
Cool.
Discreetly, we're huge fans of ESD and all the work that the organization at large does, and there are a lot of supporting government organizations in New York to try to make a great climate ecosystem. So I'm grateful that we were able to have you join us, and thank you. And I hope folks here take a look at the website, chat with Jennifer and the team if there's any interest, and hopefully we can get some climate folks funded. That's the goal.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.